For problem number 10, I have 5a squared is equal to minus 1 minus 3a. Well, remember, it would be nice to have this look like ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Also, on our last problem, we said that we might run into this situation where we might have the square root of negative 1 is equal to I. We'll have to find out in a second how that works. Maybe it applies, maybe it doesn't. So what I know is I have to solve for 0, so I'm going to add 1 and add 3a to both sides. I'm going to write this in descending order because it helps. And then I think I might switch the a to x just so I don't get confused. It doesn't really matter. We could plug it back in for a later. Alright, so now I've got that. So remember, to solve this thing, I'm going to need to know that x will be equal to negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now remember, when we go to take the square root, we might have a negative number here. This square root part of the equation of the quadratic formula, we have a fancy name for that. We call that the discriminant. So the discriminant is kind of an important thing. Okay. Sometimes we just solve to see, in other words, if I wanted to see if this had a real number solution, I would just solve the discriminant, and if it was negative, then I knew I had an imaginary. But we're going to do everything. So I've got x is equal to negative b. Oh, wait, let's figure out what our a, b's, and c's are. So I've got a is equal to 5. B is equal to the number in front of this, which is 3, and then C is equal to 1. So I'm going to plug this in. I've got minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times A, which is 5, times C, which is 1, all over 2 times A, and A is equal to 5. Alright, so on this next line, I've got negative 3 plus or minus 3 squared is 9, and then I have negative 4 times 5, which is negative 20 times 1, so I've got 9 minus 20, all over 2 times 5, which is 10. Now automatically, by looking at this, I see that in my next calculation, 9 minus 20 is negative 11. That could be a problem. In fact, it is a problem. So again, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to figure out a way to get rid of that negative symbol under the square root. So that's not that hard to do. I'm going to say negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 11 times the square root of negative 1. Remembering that the square root of negative 1 is equal to I. Okay? All over 10. So I could say plus 11, and now some convention is to write the I in the front. I don't know, it depends on the textbook. Some write it in the back. And I'm separating it. And as crazy as that thing looks like, this is the actual answer. Right? That is the actual answer. Negative 3 plus I root 11 over 10, or negative 3 minus I root over 11, or root 11 over 10.